Make sure this audio is working. Oh, as soon as I go to test, music dies. Hold on. Okie dokie. Looks like we're up and running. I am still in KPEL. I've done a lot, but I got a lot more to do. So I got some little seams still to sand down. I put primer over it so I can see the gaps better. See what needs to be filled. A couple spots there. There's a spot. I realize I got to do this in here, this interior spot, because it's visible. I put his torso in here, check. I thought this was far enough back, but it's not. So I gotta sand that down. This piece goes on like so. Once that gap is filled in, the rest of that looks okay, I think. This cape is, once it's fully assembled, it's going to be really hard to wield around. So I'm going to finish these little spots first, get them sanded down again and filled or whatever needs to happen. Looks like I got a little bit of a weeping resin right there. That's no good. That means I missed a spot. Or I sanded it open and the resin is coming out. Which, you know, sometimes that happens when you do a deep sanding like I did. Did put a lot of resin in one of these spots. I think it was here to fill in this little wing part. There was some resin weeping right there. So I'm gonna go back to work on these pieces, getting them sanded up, and then I guess it will be. Then I'll attach the other pieces, get those filled, and then I gotta set it aside and let it dry. And then while that's drying, I will work on some other stuff. So, but it's gonna be a good time. I'm trying to decide if I want the chair, my paint chair, or my stool, my sanding stool. But actually, I need to get rid of that thing anyway. Monster inside of this sanding enclosure. Yeah, this thing is gonna be full once I get the fully assembled cape. Also, I'm about out of sanding foam, at least in the 400 grit. Let me see if I have any 600. But looks like I have to go to the hobby store tomorrow. I have one tiny little square of 600. Oh, and then what is this? Oh, this is 240. This is a shingle. Jeez. You know what? Oh man. That would I wonder if that would just gouge it. Maybe if I'm light with it, I'll give it a go. But yeah, I got 240, so that's interesting. Anyway, definitely gonna have to make a run to the hobby store for some more of this foam sanding paper. But I'm gonna try some of this 240 to just really give it some hell. See what it does. Didn't know I had this. Oh, I gotta switch the camera. Yeah, so this is 240. I feel like this is gonna do some damage. Before I do that though, I should counterfill these little cracks just a little bit with some resin. get some resin. This 240 foam paper is actually pretty good for this. It is ripping right through. It's actually, the hard part is to not like gouge it. You don't really have to put hardly any pressure on it at all. All right. I need very tiny application. You know what? Let's do this over the paint desk. There'll be a lot of back and forth today. This cape is a friggin' beast. You need to focus on all the things I need to get done. That I need to. No, it's closed up. I can use some resin on it. Alright, anyway. Now it's kind of dark. Those are all pretty good, but they're also all pretty covered. I think it's just going to be that spot, this area, this area. I think the rest of that's good. Alright. Alright, so it's not as bad as that. Stacky thing here. Bring this resin thing over. Come on, towel. You're embarrassing me. You know what? I'm just gonna have to get rid of that rag. That's what I get them for anyway. I'm gonna need to put in an order for supplies soon. I need some more those little foam sanding things. What else do I need? I did just get a bottle of primer, so I'm good there. I was running low on that for a while. But then I found out that they only sell small bottles anyway, so it's actually probably better that I buy from where I do buy from. I'm just rambling now. I'm gonna shut up. A little thick there, but that 240 240 foam sanding paper is going to take care of all that. Second, settle down in there. I'll let it puddle right there. All right. Actually, while I'm here doing this one, go ahead and do these. And also just keep in mind how much it's going to be visible. Like in this case, that spot right there is pretty high vis. Sticking out there. Should be easy enough to get to this on the back side, which is important. So what I think I'm going to do is, after I sand down these spots that I have, get them as close to good as I can, then I'll get these other two, then I'll attach this piece, wait for it to dry for a little while, sand it down, seal it, hide its seam. It'll be easier to get to that spot without this thing in the way. This thing was on. Well, no, I suppose I can still get to it. I don't know now. Now it got me second guess myself. I might just attach them both. Yeah, fuck it. We're gonna attach them both. We're gonna be alright. We're gonna figure it out. Just this thing is gonna be a monster once it's all assembled. And it is gonna be hard to swing it around and get to all the spots, but I'm not gonna let it bother me. I'm gonna do the best I can. What is up? What's up, Dean? Trying to get the seams in this cape hidden. Because I really do not want any seams in this cape. And it's almost there. A little much. Nope, probably took out a little too much now. Dang it. Alright, I'm gonna figure this out. I don't want a big pocket of resin there. I just want a little stripe to sand down. Yeah, capes are tough, especially when they've got this much character. it's worth it in the end, but it is a lot. What's up, DL? All right, I gotta go get these back in the sanded enclosure. Give that a sand down too, real quick. It's gonna need some resin as well. I had to do a little bit of a repair on this end here. I just noticed a little misprint. But yeah, once I get this thing even partially assembled, after this next step, it's gonna be difficult to move this thing around. But like I said, I discovered this 240 sanding foam I had. I didn't know I had this stuff, and this stuff is devastating. It's super light. Light work now. I have to be careful with it though, because it'll gouge. Well, I did a bunch of off-camera stuff, DL. I did some, because doing this work is not the most engaging. So everything, I'm getting the last two stages, or the last two pieces, getting those processed first. Then I'm going to attach them, and then I'm going to get this cape finished. I'm going to get some other pieces assembled too. Get the base assembled and stuff like that. So it should be a fun evening I got planned. All right, did I get it this time? I got it this time. I can't tell what I'm sanding here. A weird little high spot. Yeah, this cape is a mess, dude. Like this thing is crazy. These little foam sanding pads though, I would not have been able to do this without these, for sure. I might have one little hole there, but that could be mistaken for a support mark, so it's fine. All right. Let's get this little spot. Like this is either session 3 or 4 of just the cape. Because I mean, I also did some of this off. Like I said, I did a lot of this offline. So I mean, this cape has been crazy town. All right, when this 240 dies, though, it dies hard. Like you can tell when it stops working. Try something. I think I'll use where's my grinding again? But on the first. I need some more of these little sanding disc things. So for this grinder pin, I'm all out of that. I'm starting to run low on the 400 grit, which really is perfect. And I wish I could only buy sheets the 400. Uh-oh. My phone's buzzing. That's just my 4:30 alarm. I forgot I started hobbying early today. I really want to get through this because the the Clayface, the Clayface model is turning out to be really cool. Like I'm starting to pull pieces off now, and I can start to see how it's going to come together. I actually have to do a run because there's so many pieces still left to print. I'm out of room on my tray where I store and kind of let the resin kind of sit until I'm ready to process it. So I'm actually going to have to do a processing session at some point uh, in the near future so that I can finish printing the rest. Yeah, I try to. Yeah, I try to not get too far ahead. I don't want to like print. I don't print a whole bunch of statues all at once. You know, I don't like keep my printer running. But I knew that the Batman or the Clayface with the Batman attached, it's a big print, and so I knew there was going to be a whole bunch of parts to it. So I wanted to go ahead and get a head start. It's going to be a lot. That's going to be a big one. It's going to look so cool though. I'm very excited to paint that. It's going to be really easy too because it's going to be mostly airbrush. But yeah, that Clayface is going to be fun to print because just because of how organic and rough it is, like or not rough, but how just you know what's the word textured, I guess. Just how much it's how textured that the piece is. It's gonna be fun to paint and uh, just to yeah put together and everything. It's gonna be big. The size of it's awesome. Yeah. Oh, I store them in I keep them in my resin cabinet. It's got like a. I used an IKEA cabinet for my resin cabinet, and so I vented the part to the outside. I vented the whole thing to the outside, and my printers are on top, but I've got shelves underneath, and that's where I keep my resin parts when I'm not when they're waiting to be processed. It allows them some time to just like for all the resin to drip out of them, you know. And then yeah, I like that. I like letting them sit there for a couple days. I mean, they sit there for weeks, for that matter. And it's all vented, so it doesn't really matter. And it's closed off, so they're not going to accidentally get exposed to UV light or anything like that. Yeah, it's a perfect spot. I thought really, really hard when I was making this room. I thought really hard about how I wanted to use the space, and so how I wanted to set up my printing station, and my curing station, and the whole thing. Given the space I was in, the size and everything, and what I had, and so yeah, I'm really glad I went with the IKEA vented cabinet versus like the grow tent. I almost got a grow tent. That was my second option, but it would have just been a big monstrosity inside the room, and then I still would have had to put furniture inside of it. It would have took up a lot more space. So I'm glad that I went with my own custom solution. It's not completely sealed, the resin cabinet, my IKEA cabinet, but it's the ventilation system that I bought is designed for like double the amount of space. So I mean, it's sucking the fucking air out of that box. Like it's not going anywhere except outside. So I'm not too worried about it like leaking through the cracks in the door or anything like that. I don't even think it sticks around long enough. Like I think it's pretty well ventilated in there. All right. I think that should be good. It's good enough for the next round. So I'm gonna get the other piece attached, the other two pieces attached, and the preliminary sealing or gap fill with the plastic wood, and then I'm gonna come back and basically do the same thing, like prime it, let it dry, go back and touch it up, and then do an all over prime once everything is good. I'm glad. I like having this primer coat because it just really lets you see what's going on. I'm over here picking a fight with this little one. Probably could have just left it alone, but it caught my eye. That's gonna be good enough. I don't matter. So we definitely want it. I'm gonna need to get some paper. Get down in there. Or this might actually work for the best. Yeah, I usually don't go to this much trouble, but since this cape is such a dynamic piece of this whole thing, it's this statue is literally 50% cape. Like it's like okay, it's a third. So let's go. It's like 30% base, 30% statue, 30% cape. That's about how this thing is running. And so this thing I want it to be as flawless as I can make it because it is going to be under such scrutiny, and especially at this size, any little imperfections are going to be noticeable. They say this is 1/6 scale, but there's no way. This thing's got to be bigger than that. I don't think that's getting in there. I'll get some paper. Yeah, I mean, definitely putting once you put some thought into your process and you really kind of worked out the kinks at least, to a certain degree. And then you never know, things change. You might discover something new. But once you get a nice process worked out, it's really great to be able to adjust your space and the things that you need in a manner that best suits how you want to use it. And I had the luxury of planning a room from nothing, so I had nothing but a floor plan. I had basically an open floor plan to start from zero, and at that point, I had already had my other small kind of studio space that I was working in, and I had worked out the kinks for the most part. And then once I inherited the bigger space, I just scaled the operation up. The resin, the IKEA resin cabinet though was a particular stroke of genius, and I think I can say as humbly as possible. I'm still considering if I want to do these rocks with some snow on them, because he is got his like furry park up thing on his cape, you know, and that does kind of scream it's wintertime in winter in Latvia or whatever. And so I'm considering doing some snow on these as part of this model. Not as not as much as Mr. Freeze, but maybe a little bit. Especially around the base where it gets a little weird, like those big rocky spike things. I don't know what the fuck those things are supposed to be. Pardon my language. Any little kids watching? You shouldn't be watching. Well, I mean you should, but I got some spicy language. Anyway, point is that the rocky parts of the base where there's like spiky things sticking up. I don't know what to do with those things. They look like they could be ice, like ice spikes. They also look like they have a rocky texture, not a ice. I don't know. So I'm just gonna make them rocks. I think I want to let this little spot slide because I can't get in there well enough. Yeah, it took me a couple years to, like I said, to kind of hone in on it, how I like to work. That's how I ended up with this enclosure.
which by far the best thing I purchased for this hobby. A little spot right there too. A little bit more paper.
All right.
Boop, 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 boop. Oh, this little spot right next to it as well. Yeah, that's it. It's definitely worth worth the minor investment because I don't even think it was that much. And it comes flat packed. It's real easy to assemble. It's really awesome. Nobody's looking that hard on the inside of this cape here. It's gonna be good enough. Get those other two spots, those other two pieces sanded. Oh, wait, spoke too soon. Oh yeah. Yeah, it would be easy enough to make. I mean, now that I've gotten this one, I mean, I see what would go into making one. It would be super easy to make. I need to do a DIY. I need to do a DIY airbrush enclosure. I need a bigger freaking airbrush box. The problem now though is like I don't have that much space for a larger airbrush box. I could probably squeeze in if I reorient stuff.
I could probably squeeze another 4 inches wide, or another 4 inches in width. And then height, I can go higher, except for my camera setup. So, oh wait, I gotta sand that part. Yeah, so I would like to do something like that. Yeah, having the light inside is definitely helpful. I think I probably need a little bit more. Like this little one, I don't think is enough. I think it would be really helpful to have some on either side. And also, when I'm doing really sandy stuff, this plexiglass gets electrostatically charged, and the heavy dust particles get attached to it. I need to do it. I got to do a box clean out. This project has been particularly, you know, dusty. It's never big enough. There's never enough room. Get down in these little spaces here. Sorry, I know this is not exactly riveting YouTube, but if I gotta be in this hell, so do you. I'm kidding. It's not too bad. It's a lot. It's a lot of work because there are just lots of little spots. I'm approaching the end. I really am. It's not gonna be too much longer. I probably have this. I should be ready. I should be ready to paint by this weekend. And the painting is actually probably going to go pretty quick. Most of this is all airbrush, so that and it's all, since it's all going to be kind of separate pieces. It should be pretty easy to deal with. Doctor Doom is 90% chrome. It is a lot of tape, and yes, I have watched Andor. I watched the first 3 episodes the other night. I'm pretty stoked for it. I'm glad it's back. They do a really good job of like building the story
in that series. Like I usually I have a hard time keeping up with characters and like who's doing what, but with when there's a lot of moving parts, you know. But in this particular instance, they've done a good job of like keeping the story straight for me. All right, I got to figure out how to get down in there better. A little baby piece here. Let's get another one. Ooh. Let's try this. Nope. Oh well, you know they got to do what they got to do. All right. Yeah, this thing. Tell you what, This makes me want to not ever do a cape again. I'd love to have a Spawn statue in my collection, but not if it's going to cost me this amount of effort. Can't even say this is actually worth it yet either, because I haven't got to the outcome yet. Should be worth it though. Better fucking be. I'm sure it will be. Thanks, DL. Have a good, safe drive home, and I will catch you next time. I still may be streaming when you get to wherever you're going, because I'm gonna be here for a minute. I actually I took tomorrow off, not so I could work on this model, but just for because I need a health and safety break. You know, you got to take care of yourself mentally. And so yeah, I'm gonna be doing. I'll be on early tomorrow probably. I really want to get a good dent in this maid over the next few days. So yeah, I'll be streaming most of it. Of course, at this rate, I might be overestimating myself here. Jiminy Christmas. This is kind of an unforced error too, which is unfortunate. I didn't need to put this much putty this far down. I was trying to blend it into a spot that I could hide, not thinking that I needed to get in here and sand it in order to blend it. But now it's just in a spot where it's really freaking hard to reach. Same thing over here, I didn't need to put the putty this far down. That is really irritating. It seems like I should be able to get it, but I can't. Right, well, this is on the back of the inside, so let's make sure we looks good from this side. Smooth foam. Woo! This is a lot of work. It's gonna make my back hurt. sanding, sanding, sanding my life away. Oh, come on. So much sanding. All right. I think. Oh wait. Yep. Spoke too soon. There's a big old chunk right there. Hiding in the shadows. Am I standing or sitting? Oh, I'm sitting. I'm just old. Being locked into a static position for an extended period of time is no fun on my back. Got it now. It's not perfect, but at first blush, you're not going to see this. It's kind of towards the bottom anyway. Let that slide. other two pieces updated. Alright, doesn't have to be perfect. I got a bunch more work to do. Not even close to done. Oh, I am parched though. I'll take a quick little health and safety break. 1 second. All right, let's get back into it. Yoink. This one, these two, I don't think I had much to do at all. First, use a sponge. Thanks for hanging out, Dean. Take it easy.
Alright, that's good enough. Last one. Totally last. You know what I'm saying? Oops. More. If I can buy these foam sheets. This to be a foam in bigger sheets. These little squares are nice, but it would be nice to have more. At it cheaper. See, it's $6 for this little square. Yeah, let's see if I can do. I'm gonna do a little research tonight after I get done. See if I can find these sanding or these foam sanding pads in larger quantity or bigger sheets. I think that was the only spot on here. Use a little bit more. I'm not gonna worry about that one. All right, I think this is. Good enough. At least for now. Like I said, once I move on to the second stage, which I'm about to, I'll double back and do a final pass on everything. Because I'm getting sick of looking at this. So let's get some pieces attached. See where this takes us. Alright, so this is up here. I think I want to do this bottom piece first. I don't think it matters. Oh, don't drop it, Bobby. This has got a nasty little hitch in it right there. Alright. Need to scratch that up a little bit. Okay. Set down the peg a little, so make sure it's not bottoming out. Sometimes I just snip them off. This one I already did, but do it again. Alright. Does this go on here? No, like that's the jam. Put a little extra on there. I don't mind if it oozes out some because I've got the keys. Got gaps to fill, so it doesn't matter if it's filled with super glue or if it's filled with plastic wood. So we're just going to let these overflow a little. All right. tacky. What's up, DL? Welcome back. Just in time to watch me hold things together while it dries. Nothing much. You didn't miss much. I am still working on this mother effing cape. I am gonna start I'm gonna give this a little while to dry, and then while it's drying, I'm gonna start assembling the rest of the pieces. Yeah, this cape is gonna have a lot of weight. This thing is solid resin. It's terribly well balanced. I'll put any weight down on it, but there's no way I can orient this thing. I have to trust that it's on there. Feels like it's on there. Don't see any movement. All right. I think that might be the trick. If you leave the glue to be exposed to air for a couple seconds before you actually attach it, it gets a little more tacky, I think. I feel like that's something I used to know. What's up, Mitchell? Got so many questions. Yeah, man, fire away. I'll do my best. Why did I make it full resin? Well, because the shape of it, there's no way to put air holes in this thing. It would have made too many like trapped resin spots. That this was really the only way to do it. I also, do I need to get some along that edge? Yep, I need to put some all along that edge. Yeah, I didn't want to have a bunch of trapped resin everywhere. So that's why it's all solid. What printer do I use? That is a M3 Premium. About 5,000 pieces for miniatures. You're gonna want something pretty big. Now the M3 Premiums, it's a pretty large printer. Like it'll hold like 2 kilograms of resin in the vat, which is really, really nice. But the if you're doing something like that, you probably want like an autofill. You want something really, really big with like an autofill. reservoir kind of deal. Well, there's a big difference between 500 and 5,000. So, but either way, if you're doing that many, I would want to get like a really, really big printer. And I personally am an Anycubic fan, but there are lots of different models, brands on the market now that are all really, really good. It's a good time to get into it. Everybody, they're pretty competitive, so they're getting cheaper. But of course, depending upon your location, you might be affected by shipping shit, tariffs, and what have you. But they have, like I said, printers are getting pretty reasonable. This one's going to be a problem because there are too many spots to hold it. I have to hold it against my belly. There we go. All right, so now's the perfect time to ask questions because I got about 30 seconds of not moving. Purchased 5 of the newer Elegoo Saturn Ultras. Those are nice. I've heard those are really nice. I feel like that was a solid choice. But 5 of them, huh? You were serious about this. You're doing like farm printing. A recommended resin that's not so brittle. No, I mean, like I said, I'm an Anycubic fan, and I use Anycubic plant-based resin. I wouldn't call it brittle, but it's not. Any resin's going to be breakable. I mean, I guess unless you get like the bendy, what is it, the ABS resin or whatever. They have some resins that are specifically designed to be a little more flexible. You'll have to do some research on that. I haven't really branched out. I tried some Sunlu. I tried a few other brands, but I came back around to Anycubic because the speed, like the layer speed on the Anycubic is really nice. Like that's what I like about it. It's a little faster than the others. Sunlu's about a tenth of a second faster, but the quality's not as good. I had a lot of misprints with it. So, like I said, I'm a little partial, a little biased, but yeah, I like the plant-based stuff just because it makes it lets me sleep at night for some reason. I'm not the best steward of the environment here, but I feel like if it's made of plants, it can't be all bad. That might just be some marketing bullshit too. I don't know, but it's relatively cheap. It's about, I mean, it's retail, of course, but usually sells between $21 and $24 a bottle, depending on if you buy it in bulk. So it's not expensive. Some of those resins go for like $34 a bottle, something like that. That's craziness. Especially if you're going to be doing a lot of printing, which it sounds like you are. So unfortunately, I probably can't help you as much as you would hope, because it sounds like you're planning on doing like a big farm printing, and I think that's probably something different. Like the machine and materials that I use is probably going to be different than what you're going to want to do. Oh, that's a nasty little triangle of doom there. Look at the size of this monster. Look at this. crazy town. All right, I'm gonna let these pieces dry. While they dry, I'm gonna go assemble some other stuff here. Get rid of some of this glue. It's all gonna be sanded down anyway, so like I said, I'd rather have this fill in the gap than have to do a bunch of extra stuff. Wish I could have got that to line up a little better. Afraid to move it now. That will definitely require some filler. Okay, but that's enough of that for the moment. I'll let it dry. What's my cleanup process? I don't think that there's a difference between the 99 proof alcohol and the 70 proof alcohol, so I just use the 70 proof IPA to do my wash. Sorry, just thirsty. So what I typically do is, after it comes off the printer, I give it a stage 1 wash, which is my junk resin, or which is my junk alcohol. It's the most cloudy. It's the initial wash. It's still got all the supports and junk on it, right? So I give it a wash in the stage 1. Then I go and remove all the supports, because it's better to remove the supports while they're soft before you cure them. You get less divots that way. I remove all the supports. Then if it's a hollow piece, I'll usually dunk it in the stage 1 wash again, just to get all the resin out of the inside, give it a good sloshing around. Then I put it in a stage 2 wash, which is a cleaner alcohol bath that has a little agitator in the bottom, and it gives it a good wash. So I usually let that wash for like 5 minutes. Then I let it dry. Usually I'll just let it dry overnight or whatever. If I need to rush it, I'll use an air gun and just like blow the residue out. And then once it's dry, then I cure it. And then I usually do about, depending upon the piece and the size, I usually do about 5 minutes per side. I heard stuff moving. Okay, I'm gonna set this little seal aside because I feel like I'm gonna hit it. And these little dainty little bits, and he's got these tiny little details. I heard if I bump it, those little details are gonna break off. Talk about breakability. But that's different because this is just super tiny. So anyway, I'm gonna set this. I don't want to set it on my workstation. I'll set it right here. All right, so I need to get these guys attached and sealed. Torso and the arms. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just do it all. Let's get everything glued together first, and then we'll make a pass, get everything sealed. So these have been glued together. I just need to do some sealing. These parts need to be glued. Let's do this a little more controlled fashion here. This is the arm. This is the upper body. Upper. That's the head. I'm not going to attach that. That's upper. That's lower. All right, let's get these mother truckers attached. You've been under curing. I don't think the only reason I put it, the only reason I cure for 5 minutes is because I want to give it time for the to get into all the little nooks and crannies. So I'll do like 5 minutes on this side, then I'll turn it over and do 5 minutes on that side. That's usually plenty. Some people are worried about, how do I cure the inside of the resin? You don't have to cure the inside of the resin. It's fine. This has got a nice little texture on it. So this one I'm probably not even going to attempt to seal it. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, that's my process pretty much. and then, sanding down the seams. And now if you're doing miniatures, I mean, I don't think you're going to have, like I said, your process is probably going to be slightly different. You're not going to have as many supports to remove and things like that. And so, but that's pretty much it. If you really want to cure the inside, they make like little UV lights that have like flexible little optic things on the end that you can like snake inside and cure all the inside if you really wanted to. Usually, as long as you're giving it a good rinse, you make sure it's super rinsed out, which is why I do a 2-stage wash. I've never had like resin leaking out of things, or like some people say that they have, where they'll have like a resin bubble or something on the inside, the resin seeping out. I've never had any of that happen. Did I make this model myself? No, this is this is a model from a Patreon. It's from the Wicked 3D Patreon. So it's, yeah, I don't do my own, I don't make my own models. That is a skill set that I let go a long time ago. I used to be into 3D stuff though. I do enjoy the fact that we live in a time where I can just pay someone a reasonable amount of money for, these files, and I just boop, boop, boop in the computer, stick it in a printer, and then this 3-dimensional object comes out into the real world. I really dig that. Yeah, it's really cool that we live in a time that this is a thing, and it's finally like a reasonable price too. When it first started out, just like everything, new technologies and such, when it first came out, it was crazy expensive. But now 3D printer costs like what a fucking regular like paper printer costs. And it's like I said, it's just, I'm going to continue to do this hobby for as long as my eyeballs and hands will allow me to do it. I'm going to be an old man 3D printing. Can't wait for that shit. That's going to be awesome. Being up in a retirement home with my resin printer. It's going to be the only thing I care about. I mean, except for my wife and, family, of course. But just saying that, like, as far as any other, like, worldly possession, I hope to do this for as long as I can. Nobody's going to be looking up his skirt, so I don't need to worry too much about that. But I would like for this to all line up as closely as possible. It's just really cool because, I mean, like, growing up as a kid, the only quote unquote models that were available were, like car models or model rockets or, model airplanes, that kind of shit. and they just came in these little kits, and you just kind of put them together, you know. So, and also just the nostalgia of, you know, the comic book characters and, you know, that kind of shit, coupled with my natural propensity to want to make 3D objects. This hobby has just been like the perfect culmination of all the things that I've found interesting throughout the entirety of my existence. And I'm using big words because it is that grand. Like, seriously, the science, the chemistry, the artistry, all of it. It's just I love all of it. And I'm so happy that I get to do it. And then I get to have this rad studio, and I get to stream it to you folks. And the main thing here is like, you know, I remember being a beginner and just starting out, you know, just a couple of years ago. So it wasn't that far, it wasn't that long ago. And so I want to have the entirety of the process captured, even this, you know, painful, the painful pre-production part of it. I wanted to have all of this captured so that people starting out would, you know, get to see what it takes to do this stuff. Have a clearer picture. Have a clearer picture of what it takes. Excuse me, the scopa. Teeny tiny little piece of glue right here in his armor. It'd be easier to remove right now before I attach his leg. Like it never happened. Oops. Let me mute this for a second. All right. Now, where was I? This is the bendy piece, yeah. Wait, now, hold on. Do I really want to attach these legs right now? Because they'll probably be easier to paint. It's probably going to be easier to paint separately. And since I don't need to really worry about the seam on either one of these, I'm going to keep these legs separate. I do need to hide the seam on that. Oh, so we're going to keep our legs, actually, go ahead and start a stand here. Oop. Oh, should kind of hang off the side here. All right, let's see. The face, there's a teeny tiny little crack on either side of his mask because the resin is really thin right there. And I think I want to try to fill it in and sand it. So we're going to try that. This cape is ready for business. Of course, I could have made one of these holes a little bit larger. Yeah, this thing I can't decide how I want to paint it. If I want to do gray and white, or if I want to do gray and white and a little bit of brown, just like a little bit of fur. I don't know. I feel like the furry brown collar look is probably more accurate, and it'll help break up some of the green. Well, I don't know, the white would do the same. It's gonna be white with a little bit of brown. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Moving on. All right, let's see here. For hit, yeah, I'm gonna need to glue these because I want to make an attempt to hide those seams. These parts I'm gonna assemble. Oh, so I decided how I'm gonna do these little doodads here. So basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attach this. I'm gonna fill the little gap in there. I'm gonna sand it down, and then I'm gonna go once I have this seam hidden. Then I'm gonna go in with something like a little warm needle or a little something about the size of the current holes, and then I'll just replicate the texture, just one little dot at a time. Something hot, just make a little dot pattern. Doesn't even need to be that hot. The trick's gonna be something the right size. Maybe the end of the tweezers. Ooh, the end of the tweezers is probably a good idea. Probably about the right size. Either that or the ball end of, no, that's probably too big. I'm gonna say the ball end of one of these little tools, a metal ball on it. I'll find something, but anyway, that's gonna be the plan. This out of the way here. All right. Start getting these some bitches attached. Starting to come together. Starting to become a thing. I decided I'm just going to chrome all of his little undercoat because it's going to look the best with the with the armor. So I'm going to use. Don't I use steel? Would that be too dark? I may just do Vallejo chrome over the whole thing, and then maybe the underparts spray like a wash just to darken it all down. That might be the jam. I may be overthinking the using the Vallejo or the Green Stuff World Chrome. That might not be as good of an idea as I think. So I may just do Vallejo Chrome over the whole thing. It's feeling like what I'm gonna do. Although I did find this metal varnish. I guess it's designed to, I don't know if it's glossier than gloss varnish. I don't know. I may do a test. I may do a metal test. Actually, that's probably not a bad idea. And I can test the Vallejo Chrome and the Green Stuff World Chrome. I can test them side by side. See how they look. And then I can varnish them to see how they look in their final form. Yeah, I will do that. I'm gonna do a chrome metal test with varnish because I want to try that. Now that I feel like I can work that Green Stuff World Chrome better because of the flooding it, like learning to just kind of overflow it a little bit. Now that I know that, I'm going to try it again, but I'm going to try putting some varnish on it just to see if that makes, if it reduces the shine too much. Because it's kind of messing with my process. I need to lay down the chrome first, varnish it, and then mask it off because it's the inside layer. I need to do it first. It's the lowermost layer. But I need to be able to varnish it. So if I can't varnish it, then I can't do it first. I have to do it last, which means it's going to get really weird. I have to paint all the green first, and then repaint it black, and then mask it off, and then chrome it. And I would much rather, because I can brush paint the green in to the edges and stuff, So I'd rather put the green on secondary, but only if I can varnish chrome. These are the things you have to consider, when you're in the middle when you're making things. The process in which the things get made is important, because you do shit out of order, man. And if you didn't put any thought into it, and do things. I've gotten burned several times where I glue something together that I shouldn't have glued together too soon, and so my assembly got all screwed up. I've learned that lesson many times, so many times. Well, I should say it took me a long time to learn that lesson. It took me many, many times to learn that lesson. So now I try to think it through. These are all sanded, so they should have a little bit of a texture to them already. No, these are just for personal. Yeah, this is just a personal hobby, and I added the streaming just to see. I don't know, just because I was sitting around talking to myself, and so I figured, hey, it's better to stream it. No, I'm kidding, because I wanted to make some videos to show beginners and people that are interested in the hobby, like what goes into it. If I did commission, and I have commissioned a piece or two, but if I do commission a piece, I want you to understand that, like, the reason it costs what it costs is because of how much time it takes to do it. And this is a lot of this is not a quick turn kind of situation here. Man, all right, I'm gonna have to experiment. I'm gonna need to find something before I go sealing these seams. I'm gonna need to find something I can use to replicate that texture. I could probably just use a needle. Just a needle and a lighter. Whatever, I'll figure it out. I'm gonna get these. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make money. I don't want to become a statue factory, because I feel like that'll suck the joy out of the hobby for me. But I would like to be able to make a little bit of extra money from it. And so I figure if I can get money from Google, if I can get those streaming bucks, then that would be pretty swell. I'll take that. I can live with that. But yeah, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to become where I'm just making statues for money, and then there's always a wait list, and it's just too much pressure, Like right now, I do what I feel. I'm in control of it, and I enjoy it, actually. This is kind of a nice extension of my day job as well. I do video work and stuff. So I don't mind doing the video editing and all that jazz. It's fun. It's been a nice addition. Because I get to chat with people and hang out. And like when I was in high school, I've told the story before if anybody's talked about my high school time in the art house, but we had this building, this house that was on campus when the school was purchased, or when the land was purchased. There was a house on it, and so rather than razing it down, they turned it into the art house, and that's where all the art students, that's where we went for art classes. And I love that scenario where everybody's working on their own projects, but we're all just hanging out, shooting the shit, asking questions, getting opinions, getting feedback, but mostly we're just hanging out, listening to music and working on our stuff. And I like that vibe, and so that's kind of what I wanted to recapture here is, people working on their own projects. Maybe they just put the stream on in the background, and we're just hanging out. They're working on their thing, I'm working on my thing. Now, the choice of lo-fi is not, the best, but for royalty options, it's just much less headache than any other any other audio. But whew, all right, come on, glue. Yeah. Yeah, I really hope I can find a way to mimic that little dot texture. Feels like that should be doable. Because I'm gonna sand the crap out of that to get it to line up and be flawless. Because I really hate that there's a seam there. I wish they'd recessed the arm into the gauntlet here. If they'd cut that differently, then that seam wouldn't be an option. Same thing here. Like, instead of cutting it where they did, they just brought it all the way down to where the garment comes together. It it would be more seamless without having to do a bunch of filler. Right, that's in there. Well, that's cool. You're like, what do you mean by you run a 3D studio? You guys do modeling, or is it just a print farm kind of deal, or like what's involved in a studio? I guess is my question. I would like I said, I would love to find a way to monetize this hobby without it becoming like a factory. That part sucks. Like, I would not be happy doing that, I don't think. But there are other ways, there are other methods. I have considered getting a bunch of like 3D printers, and you know, printing in mass, and just selling unpainted, like unfinished prints. I know there's kind of a big market for that. Sorry, I've gotta get, hold this motionless for about 10 more seconds. Thanks, DL. Is it at almost? I haven't looked at my subscriber count in a minute. Is it almost 300 or 3K? That's pretty cool. I think I was 20. It was 25. I just crossed 2,500. I think when I got an email from the thing that you crossed 2,500. I haven't looked though. Oh man, it is too quiet now. Where's my music? What's going on here, Spotify? Oh, there you are. I think we just loop back around. All right. Am I using CA logo? I hear people refer to it. It's a trick with people using alcohol spray or something. Yeah, that's like a two-part like a spray thing. I don't do that. I use Gorilla Super Glue on the majority of parts. If it's something very heavy like that cape, I'll use an epoxy. So like I'll use the epoxy for the rock base and for the cape. Like I said, just because those are load bearing parts, and so anything that's going to be, that I'll use epoxy. But for the most part, the Gorilla Super Glue will work. I know what you're talking about, the spray stuff, but I mean, I guess you could do that. I've never used it. No idea. I have seen what you're talking about though. Let me get these. I should get these hands attached. It's got like an activator. Oh yeah, for sure. Like resin, like if you can just the only thing with doing it that way though is that the resin is only curing on the outer rim part of it. So it's like you still want to have some sort of adhesive, but to weld it together, just straight resin is also really good. I mean, let this sit for a second, let it get sticky. Yeah, this is his pointy hand. Just want to make sure I'm getting the right hand on the right side here. yeah. So like I said, the CA glue is like it's like a two-part, like an activator kind of situation. For me, it's just I started with the crazy glue or the Gorilla Super Glue, and it's never let me down. So go with what works, I have seen this rise of resin putty, where you can sculpt it into place and then use UV light to cure it, and that stuff seems pretty neat. I haven't gotten any yet, just because I'm set in my ways with the Green Stuff World putty and kind of the way I do things, but that did look interesting. It was like 11 or 12 bucks for a little can of it though, so I don't know how financially viable it would be to keep using that stuff long term, but this is a hobby and hobbies are expensive. So I might try that one day though. What I do for work, like in my day job, is I'm a web developer. I have a very uninteresting title, but in essence, I'm a WordPress developer primarily. PHP, a lot of JavaScripting, front end stuff. All right. Are we handed? Do we have a hand? Have a hand. Little little pointy finger. Point, 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 point. Look at the detail in that thing. Isn't that awesome? It's gonna be so much fun. Yep, I enjoy it. It's a good way to pay the bill. It beats digging ditches. I grew up in like rural country North Carolina, doing some hard ass manual labor. So the life that I have cultivated has brought me great joy. Because even when I have a bad day, I'm still just sitting in front of a keyboard. I'm not curing cancer babies. I'm not saving lives here. I'm just writing code. And it's a fun. I've learned over my years that it's really not doing the things that I do that bring me joy. It's the challenge of doing the things that I do. And so if I'm not challenged by it, I don't want to do it. And or I do it, half-ass because it's like I've already beat it. It's no fun anymore. And what I love about this hobby is that no matter how many times I beat it, I'm always learning something new. There's always like a trick or a way to do something better or just get better in general. Like they're just like techniques and stuff that I still need to perfect. And so it's just like this never ending cycle of, you know, of being challenged by stuff. And I really, really like that. Yeah, Georgia's definitely a great spot for creative work and for now with like movie studios and stuff coming here, like it's a really good spot for creative folks, writers, animators, illustrators, model makers. Like hell, if I'd known that like prop maker was a fucking job, like if I had known that shit when I was a kid, I would be a prop maker. 100%. I would have went to California. I would have tried my damnedest to get into Stan Winston Studios, and that's what I would have did for a living. That would have been my life. No one ever told me that was a thing. I didn't even know that was a thing because I grew up in fucking backwoods ass country. Nobody told me shit. So I figured it out. But anyway, point is that I've always been a maker, and so making these statues is really like just the best sort of meditation for me, like just to turn my brain off, not turn my brain off, but just to distract myself from other outside worldly stuff and just put these models together. It brings me a joy that like I can't even put into words. Even when I don't want to do it, I want to do it. You know what I mean? It's I wish I could, Mitchell. The it's that's a I'm too old for that shit now. My back and my feet and my even though my will and my work ethic and everything else would want me to go do it, my body wouldn't let me go do it. That's the part that sucks. Is that like that's a youth thing that I wish a path that I didn't know I could take, and it is long since passed. I still do it for fun though. I mean, I did some creature stuff. I did some like slush casting for some Halloween costumes for me and my kid. A couple years, we were making costumes there pretty heavy for the last few years of a Halloween before we all got old and grew up. um, so I mean, yeah, it's like I said, it's just this has been a lifelong passion of like making stuff, and now having a 3D printer and having this accessible is just a really nice addition to it all, and being able to make really cool stuff now. It's pretty nice. Trying to have an attitude of gratitude. this is not on there at all. I'm going to hold this for a few more seconds. I'm going to continue to ramble. I'm kidding, I'm done. Like 20 more seconds. I couldn't really score. I couldn't score the resin down in there, so it's just pretty raw resin. So there's not a whole lot for it to grab onto, which is why it's not wanting to stick right now. Some groovy Wi-Fi we got going. Now that I'm shutting up long enough to listen to it. All right, little Fisto, are you on there? All right, you're on there. Let's go with the arm, the back arm first. That way I can leverage against the shoulder here. Yeah, I may have to make a run to Hobbytown tomorrow to get some more sanding foam. Although finding that pretty large square of the 240 foam, I think that should do. That stuff just obliterates everything. I'm not going to be able to, some of those little parts in that cape, I'm just not going to be able to get down in and sand around, which does not bring me joy. But like, I gotta fix the seam on some of these, on these parts. And like I said, if I can figure out a way to replicate that texture, I want to figure that out first before I start obliterating the seams, because I would rather have seams than have ugly fill marks. I could try a needle. I may go do that. Like, that toothpick is too big, so I may go find a actual sewing needle to apply the resin. Maybe that'll do. Certainly would be less work. Filling the seams on the rocks is super easy. That plastic wood, just slap that shit in there. And also, I got to do some sculpting. I forgot. I have to attach those rocks to that base, because I need to sculpt in where I had some failed. I had a failed rock print on the back. So I gotta use some Green Stuff World putty and sculpt that in. I'm very talkative tonight. I'm usually not this talkative, guys. I swear. And then this, I think, is covered up by his big furry thing. Pretty sure that's all covered. All right. Making progress. Things are happening. loaded up pretty good here. But yeah, like this seam's pretty gross. That seam on his elbow is pretty nasty. And I hate having these nasty seams. See, like in this particular instance where it doesn't quite line up, I need to wipe all that out and then redo the texture. So I'm gonna have to figure out a solution to make pock marks, and I will find the perfect diameter piece of metal to make that shit work. Because yeah, that overhang is nasty. I am the talkiest damn thing you ever saw. In the morning, making waffles. I love Shrek. Yeah, see, like, yeah, definitely gonna have to patch all that up. It's okay. It's good practice. I hate doing shit like that, like highly textured work like that. But it's good to do every now and then. Because yeah, the only thing I can do here is add some resin to level it, sand it all down, and then fix the texture. That's the only path here. So I need to just quit acting like I'm going to be entertaining other options and I'm just going to accept my fate, because that is a huge gap right there. That's crazy town. And yeah, I think I'm just going to do all this as one chrome, as Doom intended. And I am going to do washes. I was going to make this like super shiny, you know, but I think instead I'm going to chrome it. I'm going to wash it like I normally do, because the wash just makes it feel more real, you know. And then I'll go back in and dry brush some chrome, like with just a light dry brush, just to get the edges, and that's going to bring a lot of the shine back. So I think that's going to be the play. Then I can varnish it, mask it, and then paint the rest. All right, I feel like that's on there. Yeah, that's on there. Look at that. He's got a very long, pointy torso now. Yay. Yeah, because I mean, it's gonna look weird. I can't decide too, like, what I'm gonna do with his neck, like with his little collar band. That's gonna be chrome down there. I think that collar band's gonna be like just a really dark green. Oh, is that a misprint right there? It is. Oh, maybe not. Hold on. So right there in the right there up against his little shoulder, or his little shoulder pad there. think I can fix that. All right, time to get some putty. Put some putty on this. I gotta putty that. But first, we're gonna get some. We're gonna get some epoxy on this. Get some epoxy on this mother trucker. Yeah, see these little sharp things down here? They look like, I mean, they got to be rocks because they don't look like ice. But I do like the idea of doing snow terrain since he's wearing his little furry, his winter outfit. I kind of like the idea of doing a snow top on this too. I'll get it all painted up and then I'll decide at the end. I like, because I really like the snow effect stuff that I used on Mr. Freeze. That was pretty dope. You know what, on second thought, I think I don't need to use epoxy. There's plenty of surface area here. Super glue should be just fine. I do need to scratch this up though. And if the after I get this to be the point where I can kind of start to feel like I need to assemble it, or I get to the point where I can assemble it a little, and feel the final weight of the cape and how it's balanced. Well, I guess I'm going to keep the legs. I'm going to keep the legs separate. We should just go ahead and attach the legs. I'm going to go ahead and attach the legs. There's no reason to not. Because I mean, I'm not losing access to anything. They're wide. You know, they're far apart. All that's going to be chrome. All his leg is going to be chrome. So I'm not gaining anything. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and attach his legs. All right, anyway. Totally forgot what I was saying. Ah, well. I'm just jabbering like a monkey in a tree. Ooh, all right, I'm vibrating. I understand now. There you go. Ooh. Oh, I was gonna say, once I feel the weight of that cape, I may need to counterbalance this thing, so I may end up like going back and filling this thing full of sand if the base isn't heavy enough to balance the weight of that cape. That cape is a monster. All right on, Mitchell. Thanks for hanging out, and yeah, feel free to join me on my next stream. I'll probably be on tomorrow. I should be on a lot this weekend, because I don't have a lot else going on, so I'm kind of excited about that. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, man, and welcome to GA. Giving these giving this glue a couple seconds to get tacky. That is the trick to this stuff. Giving it some air. Good enough. I don't have to really hold this together. Gravity's gonna do that for me. Oh, I need to do some house cleaning here. I got a filthy workstation. Before I like get into serious painting, like before I start doing like the final priming and everything, I like to give everything a clean. Like I'll sequester my parts, clean all the parts first, then sequester them, then clean everything, and then start painting and priming. Because I'm OCD like that, I guess. I don't know. I enjoy having a process. The ritual of it, I think. I really enjoy like cleaning up all my station between projects. Like that feels, I don't know, like I completed something, like I completed a task. All right, Spotify, what's going on? Are you coming back? There you go. All right, yeah, see, so like down here, these this gap, I gotta build some rocks in right there. That should be easy enough. That's gonna be fine. Let's attach these legs. I'm gonna work on this in just big chunks. Yeah, that'll make me happier. Let's do that. It's going to be harder to deal with because I'll have to use a hook for, I have to hook these pieces up, let them hang to dry, but that's fine. That's crazy, that big ass chunk is missing right there. What? That happens from time to time. I've been on this for 3 hours. I'll probably get these. I'll get the putty work done. And then probably take a break. So I'm down in the key. Yeah, man, it's starting to come together. Things are happening. A couple support marks under here. Oh, you're doing Black Panther versus Killmonger? Nice. Is it that the Wicked diorama? Black Panther. I have a Black Panther. Where the one where he's leaping off the helicopter tail. It's the majority of my statues are Wicked statues, so I don't think I really need to describe it. But anyway, he was probably like the third. I think he was like the third statue I did. And definitely one of my faves. You thought it was a windmill? Yeah, no, it's very much a crashed helicopter. So I think I am starting to get a little empty though. So I'm gonna get these pieces attached, and then I think I'm gonna order some popcorn shrimp for dinner. I'm kind of craving popcorn shrimp and a baked potato. So I think I'm gonna put in a little DoorDash order, and let these pieces sit until tomorrow. I don't want to rush through this. And yeah, I took tomorrow off, so I will be on. I wouldn't say bright and early, but earlier. I will probably, hopefully, I'll be on before noon if I can. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. So yeah, while I'm in a hurry to get this done, I'm not in like a rush. Does that make sense? Trying to give this glue a couple seconds to get tacky. And so yeah, I don't have a whole lot going on this weekend either. So I'm going to be able to throw marathon hours at this starting tomorrow. You can look on my Instagram. It's like way down. This was before I did a lot of streaming and stuff. So if you go to my Instagram, my whole library, the Black Panther I did, he's like way down on the list. He's, like I said, the second or third statue. The cool thing is about my Instagram is it's like a nice chronological order of the statues that I've done. And so I can sort of see where I've gotten better at doing some things, which is fun. Getting this in position. Oops. There's always little nuances in some of these little pieces because, you know, when you're gluing stuff. So I always like to do an alignment check for the legs whenever I can. So that way the glue naturally holds it in the position that it's going to naturally want to rest in. I said naturally too many times. But you understand what I'm saying. Alrighty. Starting to look like something. I'm just gonna leave that alone. I don't even need to touch it anymore. And then when this part goes on, there's a tiny bit of overlap, which is perfect. So I don't really need to worry about hiding any seams. Yeah, I'm gonna try getting like a sewing kit needle, like a sewing needle, to apply the resin in these little gaps. Because they're damn near perfect. This is going to be pretty rad looking statue. This cape is ridiculous. A broken airbrush. I don't have any broken airbrush needles. I could use like an old one. I could use it. Oh god, this thing weighs a ton compared to the weight of this torso. I can just hope that there's enough torque on it. Yeah, there is. Okay, so it's gonna go on something like that. Yeah, there's. I think if I epoxy, if I epoxy in his feet and his waist and then the cape, I think then the weight should be fine. It's pivoting at the waist, like that's where it wants to fall. So as long as I epoxy the waist, it should be pretty solid, pretty sound. That looks so cool. I don't know if I'm gonna have room for it in my cabinet, but shit. This is the first time I'm seeing it like semi together. So, all right, let's get you out of here. Ah, there we go. Oh, that cape is a model all to itself. All right, guys, I think I want to stop here because I am running on empty, and it's chow time. So I'm gonna hold this till it dries because it's like it's rocking a little bit. Thanks, DL. I appreciate the subscribe reason. Is that what you call it? The endorsement. I appreciate the endorsement. All right, that's gonna do it. We're gonna leave that be, and I will catch you on the next stream. Take it easy.